Economics of Transportation belongs to the International Transportation Economics Association, ITEA, and you have been the guest editor of a special issue on airline economics. Is this a correct title?
Yes, it's correct, yes.
And you have not been the only guest editor, because you had a sort of co-guest editor, which was who was
co-guest editorship with Tiziana D'Alfonso. She was in
Tiziana
charge
D'Alfonso.
of the theoretical papers. I was more in charge of the empirical papers. No?
And you are from Barcelona and she's from Rome. Two really nice, I would say, famous European cities and tourist destinations, prime tourist destinations. And when has it been finalized? When have you been?
I think we
finished
give
with
the special issue was finished for us I mean that we had all the complete decisions or the definitive decisions on July of September 25, and it has been finally published in the web of the journal now in September. So it had just finished.
And have you been happy with the submission?
Yeah, we have been very happy. We have been very happy because finally we had very good submissions. The quality was really very good. No, so we had 27 submissions, and finally we got 12 of the papers were accepted. 5 were rejected after the reviewing process, and there were 10 that were the rejection. No, so at the end the rejection rate was 57%, and overall we are happy. No, we are happy with the number of papers that has been accepted and with the quality of the paper that has been accepted. And I have to say that really we didn't have too many papers with a poor quality. No, in general there was like a kind of auto filter. No, and in general we were happy with the quality of the submissions.
Right, because I mean, this is slightly more than half of the papers have been rejected, and compared to other journals' rejection rates, the maybe 90, 95%. But what you're saying is basically, there have been some self-selections. The submissions have all been pretty good quality. Not all of them made it, but quite a number. How many were it? 7, did you say?
7, 27.
7 have been set. How many?
10 with the rejection.
Okay. And how many papers are now in the special issue?
12.
12, right? 12. Yeah.
Actually,
that's
the 10 of the rejection. It's not always related with quality, because in some cases the reason was because they were not so. They were not really economics, no. So they were more from an engineering approach that is not necessarily bad papers, but they didn't fit with the field of the journal, So it's not necessarily related.
I think this is one of those issues. I don't think necessarily that engineering types of papers are not welcome in economics of transportation. But I would feel something that is really important is talking about prices, right? If there are too crude assumptions on the prices, then for an economics journal, this makes it more difficult to accept, I would say. Do you agree with this statement?
In fact, the issue of prices is one of the most popular, no, between economies, no.
Yeah, I mean, this is just something. But as you said, I mean, the rejections are not necessarily mean that the papers have been bad quality, but just not a good fit for either perhaps even airlines or economics, because economics is just about prices, and then if prices are not a big issues, then that will be difficult to add it to this or to accept it for this journal. So what are the areas that now, considering the 12 papers that have been accepted, all of course are related to airlines, and also we said with economics, that is, they have to do something with pricing. So, but beyond that, what are the areas covered?
I can tell a little bit more over this. First, the first thing that we can highlight is that there are the combination of methodologies, no? Because we have some theoretical papers or some papers that are empirical, no? So finally we have...
most of the papers will be empirical or theoretical? What do you...
I have the numbers, in some place I have... we have 6 papers that are empirical, pure empirical, 4 papers that are theoretical modeling, and 2 papers that combine both things.
Oh, it's actually quite balanced. It's slightly more balanced, quantitative papers, but actually quite balanced. Interesting.
And in terms of the geographical scope, this is another issue, no? In terms of the geographical scope, we have of the 8 papers that has something to do with data. We had 4 of the papers were based on US, 2 in Europe, 1 in Africa, and another a global level.
Now, with geographical coverage, you mean the topics covered in the studies, or basically the quantitative
data, no? The samples, no? The samples were for US, for Europe, or what?
So even Africa, which is understudied, I would say, area, economic area. Oh, that's great.
And in terms of the issues, no. So finally, we could say that the pricing is clearly one of the main topics, no? We had.
Is it more like environmental or competition or?
Well, there are. So we had papers that has to do with pricing directly. We have 6 papers.
Okay.
6 papers on pricing, and of these 6 papers, 2 has to do with competition. 2 has to do with revenue management. Okay. 1 is about the effects of alliances, and the other is about airport pricing.
Right.
Okay.
Nice. Airport pricing, but there's airline economics?
One of the main issues here is to focus on the airline behavior under changing conditions, no? And one of the issues that can imply a change in the conditions is the airport pricing, no? So the paper as the paper is more related with how airlines react to changes in airport conditions, that's why we include it in the. So we consider that fit with the scope of the specification.
Right. I mean, airports, and airlines, I mean, of course, you can sort of separate them if you wish, but at the end, airlines without airports, it makes no sense. And airports without airlines also makes no sense. So there's a natural sort of relationship between the two. I see. Yeah, this makes sense. Can you say something about the contributors? Who has how many? Well, I mean, typically they are co-authored papers, but of course you will not remember all the authors. But maybe you can give some names. I have some ideas about who could be the usual suspects, so to say, to contribute to this.
Yeah. There are the usual suspects. Yes. For example, you are one of the contributors, no? I also myself was one of the contributors with Ricardo.
Ricardo Flores Fiol.
Yes, Ricardo Flores Fiol. We have Jan Bruckner.
Great.
Gian Maria Martini and co-authors, Steph Prost. And then...
Well, also all are very big names, so to say. All the people that we kind of I'm looking up to. So that's that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, we were happy with this, and also one of the things that we wanted to promote, it was to broaden the scope of the interest in the journal out of the idea community, And then we contact some researchers, well-known researchers, and especially that they are placed in US, and we have 2 positive responses. One was Jonathan Williams, that is also a very very well-grounded researcher, and Anka Cristea.
Sure.
So we are also happy to have them there. We have also one paper with Amin Zhang. Amin Zhang is also one of the another of the contributors, no?
And Ming Chang is so productive. Yeah, he is. That's also not a big surprise. Yeah.
No.
And always very good at picking topics. What the hot topics right now. Looking forward. So that's great actually. And the plan
And then
is
we have also, no, we have Pedro Cantos, no, and Pedro Cantos and the co-authors in Valencia that they also do very nice work on theoretical models that usually are related with competition. No, was also another one of the contributors. No?
And also, all these authors are so basically, whenever you go to an ITR conference, as for instance this year in Chicago, then those are the people you're going to meet there. So if our viewers or some of you wonder, okay, what is a good place to meet those authors, big names, then I think the ITR conference is a very good place to go, because this is where they usually come. There are. This is just a small side remark. Yeah.
And well, we also, a part of the issue of the airline pricing, no, we also had some papers related with environmental issues, no? Because
Sure.
at the end, I think is one of the main challenges here, no? There is one of the paper that is the one of Bruckner and co-authors that they look at the responses of airlines to increasing fuel costs, no? And they find evidence that they really react, no? So really any policy that has to do with increases in fuel cost implies that airlines apply some conservative strategies, no?
And that's also actually in line with some of your research results, because we talked about this in another podcast. And basically, these are also results that are consistent with your findings on how airlines respond to the EU ETS.
And then there is the paper of Pedro Cantos and co-authors that they analyze is this one potential policy that is to apply bans, no, to very short haul flights, no, flights where there is an alternative with trains, no, and they find some counterintuitive results, no, because at the end they find that these policies are not welfare enhancing because they are promoting the use of cars, no, that are really not a very good environmental alternative. No?
Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
And then there is the paper.
Yeah, please.
No, and then there is the paper of Steph Prost and co-authors, no, that they look at different strategies to achieve full decarbonization, no, in the airline sector, and really they say that at the end you need global cooperation and to apply a mix of policies that imply not just increase in cost for airlines, but also efficiency standards, no? They said that really we have a big challenge here, no? And really achieving the decarbonization of aviation.
Right. Something else that we forgot to mention?
Well, and then there are two papers on revenue management. The papers of revenue management. One is the one of Alberto Caquero that I didn't mention it before as
Alberto Caquero,
one of the contributors. No, that they provide evidence of the peak load pricing. No, so evidence that when there are systematic increases in demand, airlines charge higher fares. No, so this confirms what we should expect from theory. And then we have the paper of Jonathan Williams and co-authors that they show that, they confirm that airlines tend to extract higher rents from price inelastic consumers, no, especially late bookers, no, but they find some potential to increase the targeting of low price of high sensitive consumers, no. And then we have some other contributions. There is the paper of Anca Cristea that also I think is also interesting because she and co-authors analyze the issue of the COVID, no? They analyze the slow recovery of the aviation after the COVID, no? And they find that there is a slower recovery in those places where there are a higher share of of works that can be made through remote working. No, I think this is interesting. No, because one of the challenges of the aviation. No, the post-COVID period. I think this is also interesting. There is
because
also
the next pandemic will come. I mean, we don't know exactly when, but I think we can be sure that it will be coming, and hopefully we will learn our lessons from the experiences that we had with the last pandemic.
Yeah, and the next pandemic there will be a higher weight of the remote working, no? So it could be more challenging for aviation, no? And where there is one paper that looks at the paper of Zhang and co-authors, that they look at the profitability. So changes in shocks related with oil prices and how this is affecting to the profitability of airlines, and then they look at the different sources of the shocks, no? That problems with the supply chains, changing economic conditions, and so on. They say that the most important thing is the economic conditions.
Shocks in the supply chain is, of course, something that is also very, after COVID, is a very hot topic because, of course, we now observe big changes when it comes to global trade, and that, of course, affects supply chains. So that seems to be covering that to some extent.
It's a big issue, yes.
A very big issue, yeah.
And then there are two papers of alliances, no? That in general, the papers of alliances, no? In general, add new evidence of the positive effects of alliances of cooperative agreements, no? That they can allow to reduce prices because the elimination of the double markup and better exploitation of density economies. Also, there is one of the papers that combine with corporate social responsibility issues, no? And well, in general, the papers suggest that the cooperation agreements is a good idea, no?
Right. I mean, this is also consistent with the results obtained by earlier studies, right? So in that sense,
it's consistent.
Yes. Okay. So it's a robust result that alliances can be something good, which is not obvious for those viewers who are not necessarily familiar with this, because it basically allows even price collaboration among, airline partners. And that will be collusion. And typically we think of collusion as something bad, but in the context of alliances, actually there is some good evidence, even empirical evidence, that actually the society can benefit from such collusive actions. Right.
And then there is our papers that has to do with competition, and finally. These are papers at the end that looks at the differences between network and low-cost airlines, no? That it's another big issue in aviation in general, no? That there are different effects of the entry of low-cost versus network airlines, and also that both network and low-cost airlines can react differently to competition from high-speed rails, no? This issue of the business models, no? And differences in the business models, no? It's also that it's also an issue that has been has gained a lot of attention in the airline economics literature in general, no?
Right, and I think this is also relevant because, especially if we look at some places such as China, I would say low-cost carriers are not as present as in other places such as Europe. I mean, Europe is of course a place where I think low-cost carriers may be. I don't want. Well, of course, very important and very present. The largest airline basically is a low-cost airline. It's a Ryanair in Europe.
Currently, yes, in the US and Europe for sure, no.
Yeah, so that's. Is it true also for the US that Southwest is the largest airline?
In the domestic market, for sure, it's the biggest airline. No, perhaps if we combine domestic and international, the things change. But in the domestic market, it's the biggest airline. It's the bigger one.
Interesting. Okay, I wasn't so sure about that. Okay, interesting. Okay, good. So we have covered basically the areas, the contributors. I think something I'd left to say is that the reason why we have this podcast right now is to just have it as a start of a series of podcasts on the particular papers. So we want to basically spend some time with the various co-authors and talk about their papers in a podcast. So to make it sort of accessible to those who may not be so interested or may not have the time to read the papers, then they can just listen to the podcast and get the main ideas.